the end of the day, we will see benefits, even for people that we don't think will be benefited by it. So I just want to open a window of hope and look forward and trust that it's going to be a benefit. And I could explain even details, but I don't want to take much time. I believe that it will be employment from low-skilled workers to high-skilled, from people that live in Morristown. I believe in what has been said, that this project will help non-for-profit organizations. I really believe it, and that will help people that are in need or benefit from those non-for-profit organizations. So I believe the project is good. It brings balance to the town. One of the things that was said, not paying attention, the person says to these people talking about you and people from Second Ward, we have been paying attention to that. And I'm going to speak on behalf of myself. I pay attention to that. For me, that's very close to my heart. And I won't support anything that is not helpful to the people that are in need and need to be being pulled out in the ladder. So for everybody that don't believe in this, I will say trust is a good vision here. Doesn't mean that it's not risk. Yes, we have risks, but everything in life has a risk. And we have to risk to move forward. So I think that we need to sit and say, yes, we're going to work together on this, we're going to support this, and we're going to trust, and we're going to see the end result. Regarding on roundabouts, a lot of people talk about last time, and some people spoke about how they travel Europe and they see roundabouts. I often travel to South and Central America. I think there are more roundabouts in South and Central America than any other part of the world, and they work. When we start seeing a roundabout in a sketch, in a blueprint, and we start imagining how it works, we don't think that it works, but it works. So now I'm going to answer to other concerns that were raised here. Traffic. One of the statements that was made was that it will solve all our problems. We have never said or think, or nobody has said that it will solve all the traffic problems in Morristown, but certainly it will alleviate some of the problems in our traffic. Talking about research, about how are we sure that we're going to have tenants. I don't think that a developer is going to build something without researching first if he is going to rent the whole thing. So I believe they did a good research, otherwise we didn't have a project. So it's either going forward or stagnate here. Take into account parking residents. Well, it's being taken into account. And not only this building will have parking, but soon we will have deck number 10.
Lot 10.
Okay, lot 10. So we're solving parking problems in Morristown. Even Tuesday, we passed a resolution on that regard. There is a great development in the state of New Jersey. It's not only about people mention about, or person mention about more housing in Morris Plains and so on. There is a great development in the whole entire state. Thank God. Thank God we are moving forward and we are creating housing. And here in Morristown, not only housing for people that can afford, but also housing for low-income people. Very soon will be an inauguration of Martin Luther King. How infrastructure will sustain? Well, part of that will be continue moving forward. Part of that will be the taxes that this building will pay. That's part, is more of that. And it was said that the traffic engineers that have told us that everything is going to be better, they are only from the developer. That's not true. We have town traffic engineers that we have contracted to make sure that this project really will work on that aspect. And that's what I have to say.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other council members have any comments from public hearing?
Yeah, I have some comments. First off, let me start off by saying, we've lived with this project from day one, and have we listened, okay? I don't know, I can't speak for the other council people, but I've sent out numerous emails, and on this project, and Marge knows this, and anybody who lives in the first ward knows this, okay? I get 10 to 15 emails a day that get answered. But what's good about this is we do have to listen to everybody. Mike, but make an exception. You do have to listen to emotion, because emotion behind every emotion is a thought. And Marge is right too. You know, you do have to look to the past, you do have to look to the future, and you have to rely on us. It's an extension of trust. You have to trust us that we are going to balance what we hear and make the right decision for Morristown, because it's all of our intention to make Morristown better. Okay, but you have to trust us that we're listening, and we are listening. We've been here from day one. Okay, you have to trust that we're listening to your thoughts and that we're going to incorporate our thoughts in your decision. That being said, you know, Phil mentioned quite a few of the ongoing concerns, and there's still a lot of time here. Okay, and let's just say it's a lot of time. There's still a lot of time for input. There's been a tremendous amount of work on this project on the part of the developer, who has been working with our experts, working with administration, talking with various people on the council, and he does listen. The developer does listen. The town, the administration's put a tremendous amount of work into this project. The council's been putting a tremendous amount of work in this project. All the consultants, there's been a tremendous amount of dialogue. So let's don't underestimate the amount of work that has gone into this project. That also being said, the developer has a long road ahead of it. And the character of this developer, I think, I've been around, okay? I think the developer is still open to a lot of ideas. He's still open to recommendations. And this project has a long way to go. It has to come back with the developer's agreement. And in that agreement, we're going to have further traffic analysis before we pass the developer agreement. The developer goes nowhere without that developer's agreement. The financial obligations, okay, it's not just, we will look at it from a town standpoint, not just the financial obligations that we're going to see imposed upon this developer, but we're also going to see what's going to cost the town. What is it going to cost us in extra infrastructure? You know, the mayor and I have already had a conversation. Does this impact sewer? No, it doesn't impact sewer. It doesn't require any additional sewer. We are asking those questions. Secondly, it does have to go back to the planning board for a full site plan review, a full review. And John said it last night at the planning board meeting. And he said, you want to know something? If the planning board doesn't like what they see, and if it's not compliant, they can deny it. And the details of this project are going to be primarily before the planning board. What we're doing here is we're outlining the parameters. Now, Phil's absolutely right, and I give a lot of credit to the guy that's sitting next to me, Stefan Armington, for making sure that the REIT in this development plan basically has the latitude for us to have several of our concerns continue to be discussed and continue to be resolved in what is finally going to be in the developer's agreement and the site plan, okay? And I invite all of you to continue to read it. It's online. Read this plan online. There's a lot of requirements in there. Traffic isn't done. You know, we have actually, that plan has specifics as to what the expectation is for the whole entire thruway from Dumont and Speedwell through Ridgedale along Morris. Okay, it's not just looking at the roundabout. We haven't been deflected by saying, look at the roundabout, look at the roundabout. No, we understand that the two intersections that are going to be mostly impacted and that the developer is going to have to work with the administration to resolve, believe it or not, it's going to be Ridgedale and Morris and Elm and Morris. Furthermore, pedestrian and cyclist safety. A lot of people are asking questions about how does this work. One of the things when Phil was working with Chris is Chris and his firm do have certain expertise in roundabouts. Okay, they will see the information. No one's going to build something that's going to be dangerous to pedestrians. Okay, be assured. The planning board will basically keep an eye on this for us. We were very concerned about setbacks, and I think we did get the setbacks that we were looking for. we still have an ongoing discussion about the sufficiency of the public space. Well, a lot of that's going to has to do with the design of that public space when it goes to the planning board. I haven't thought about that, that I'm going to mention later on. The architecture of the building, I think a lot of people are still concerned about it. And again, I get a lot of emails, I'm doing a lot of walking, talking with a lot of people. What we don't want is we don't want just another suburban office building plopped into the middle of Morristown. All right, we all know that. Okay, the planning board does have a lot to say about the architectural style of meetings. I go to numerous meetings, and I will tell you, the mayor is probably one of the best defenders of architectural styles at the planning board. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about what is the architectural style of this building, and will the building fit into the character of Morristown? Not just the past character of Morristown, but the future character of Morristown. You know, fear continues. We heard you about over-gentrification. Does this compromise the diverse character of Morristown? And I think, Pastor Silver, I think you hit it on the head. You know, you've got to roll the dice sometimes and see what other opportunities are going to be created, what new people are going to come in, and also how is this plan going to accommodate the people that are already here. I think you hit it on the head. The whole concept of squeezing out affordable retail, it's a concern. And it's a concern that may not be able to be solved with this application, but it is a discussion that this town has to have. And we realized that during this process. Just like years ago, they had the realization that they had to have a discussion on affordable housing, and that there needed to be a resolution to affordable housing. That being said, I just want to point out to everybody, there's a developer's agreement that's going to be developed. There's going to be a detailed presentation that's going to take numerous meetings at the planning board. And like I tell you, at the end of every single one of my letters I send out to everyone, stay involved, continue to give us your input, and we will continue to make the right balanced decision. Now, what I do want to bring up is, you know, I think we have more opportunity with this project, okay? And I'll just give you my thoughts, all right? I think this first floor is the opportunity for this project. And the first floor, which is designated for retail, but you don't want it to become, again, talk about Morristown, talking about affordability, what you don't want it to become is a set of stores that may look like Westfield, it may look like the stores you see in malls. You want it to be something that's in character with Morristown. And I've run this idea by a few of the folks. You know, can we make it the entire first floor into an open market? You know, do you make it into an open market like you see in the Grove out in LA, you see in Milwaukee, you see in Portland, where basically what you're doing is you're taking a large retail space and don't think of it as individual stores, but think of it as individual booths. And what that creates, an atmosphere which the mayor has talked about in the past, which is creating a forum for entrepreneurship, creating opportunities for people who want to develop their own businesses, and also creates more of a base for affordability because you're not renting a store. You have shared services, you've got shared space, you know, you can create affordability, you can create something that actually has more character. So, you know, I welcome everybody, you know, start looking at some of these alternatives, you know. And again, I think the developer is going to have an open mind. We'll keep on talking to them about these ideas. You know, we're not just talking about food here. You know, you're talking about small businesses that may be design of furniture. It could be, it's what else can it be? Okay? And who knows? Maybe a lot of these stores in that kind of model that we're displacing, maybe they can return once the construction is done. But I think the point is that we all have ideas. Keep on talking to us. We'll keep talking to the developer. But let's face another reality too. This is private property. There's a 2,000 unit plan that's sitting out there that is not as good as this plan. That is not as good as this plan. You have a developer stepping up with a better project than what was proposed years ago. All right? So you guys know we fight for you. We know we listen to you. Okay? And trust us to make a balanced decision.
I have you, Councilman. I'm sorry.
So the record should reflect
Just for the
that.
record, Councilman Elms had to run, but he
okay, he's okay,
Okay.
no, he's okay.
You want me to call out? So just for the record, Councilman Elms is going to participate the remainder of the meeting via phone. Councilman Chilling is paying attention to conference line. Okay, yeah, call it out. Keep on calling it out. So then we're just, yes, we're on. Call it out. Okay. All right, moving on to any other council members who have comments? Councilman Davis, still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any comments to the public hearing session?
I think this is a great project. I think some public misconception is because, you know, you haven't seen me that I'm not abreast of what's going on, but, you know, just for the public's sake, you know, if we are available for any of these meetings, still, you know, always make sure that we have a private meeting so that we are perfectly clear about what we're signing up for or what we're rejecting. I wholeheartedly support this project. I think it's great for the second ward. Like Councilman Silva, I agree with the roundabout. I've seen how it works. You know, I've traveled other places, and it does make traffic go much better. And just like with any project, like when we worked on Caldwell Playground, everyone complained about that, but now everyone's so happy and the park is so beautiful. You know, you have to take a chance and, you know, see what the project yields. I think this is going to be great for the second ward, not just for beautification, but like Councilman Silva said, it will increase employment and overall aesthetic beauty, and I support it.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, Elms, you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any comments?
I think all the other council members have covered it very thoroughly. I mean, you know, the amount of work that's gone into the application by everybody on council and the amount of questions that we've fielded and the iterations, the different reviews that we've gone through. I support the project. I think it'll be a great step forward for that area, and you know, like Hillary just said, a very nice project and thing that we can be proud of in the second ward.
Thank you. Okay, so, I mean, I echo all of my council colleagues' responses, so I don't want to go into, you know, everything individually, but I do want to thank members of the public for coming out. I mean, this has been a very long process. I don't know where the comment came from. I think it was Lindsay that said you found out, you know, kind of at the last minute, so I apologize for that. I know I worked with administration one-on-one to make sure that the information was fielded before we even started to have the public presentations. When I first became council, we went through the same process with CVS. I was very new on the council then, and I had a lot of reserve hearing all of the public comments about how traffic was going to be an issue. It wasn't going to be a good project, but it splits two wards. And so the benefit of having CVS there, what a lot of people didn't see in the beginning is you accommodate seniors with prescriptions, Flagler Street, Manningham Village, you can walk around the corner to get a can of milk. So it was a lot of similar comments that we had to kind of dissect and try to figure out what was going to be the best way, what was going to be the best thing, and how we were going to make it work. As it is a throughway, we all know, but I think it's great. It was great for the second ward, it was great for the third ward, and it was a great project to add to the town of Morristown. And I think this project is a lot similar to it. There's a lot of reserve because, as the gentleman said, it's a lot of emotions. I'm a lifelong resident of Morristown, so as I told you before, I'm on the strip all the time. So it's a lot of sentimental emotions, but at the end of the day, you know, I echo Councilman Silva. Sometimes you have to just trust your leaders and just know that we all have everybody's best interest at heart. So this is not anything personal for us. This is not anything political. Everybody has put a lot of time and energy, so I thank my council colleagues for all of the comments, all of the time that you spent with your constituents, and I've spent, and the administration, and the developers, and Phil. I mean, I think that we've all done a really great job to incorporate all of the members of the public's comments, and so I support the project too, and I will just let the dice roll and keep working with the planning board and you all as the process plays out, and make sure that this is going to be a public benefit and a benefit for all of the residents in the town of Morristown and the businesses as well.
Thank you. I'd like to say the public appreciates you.
Oh, I'm sorry, the public hearing is closed, but thank you. And I mean, if there's anything we can do better administrative-wise to make sure that the information gets disseminated, I mean, it was on the website, we put it, yeah, so, and if you're not signed up to Nixle, how do residents from, that are not signed up to Nixle to get the Nixle alert? If you go to the town website, you can click on, is it Nixle, on the homepage, and that's how you get all of the alerts about everything that's going on, even if it's construction, if it's an accident, you'll get up to date every time something
And
happens.
sign up for the newsletter,
And sign up for the newsletter.
because you'll get all that information.
All right, if there are no more
And
comments.
Facebook,
And Facebook.
it's on our Facebook, town Facebook.
But thank you all for your engagement, and we appreciate, all of your comments and being a part of this process with us. All right, at this time, I'd like to, call the question. Make a motion again to
Motion to adopt,
ordinance number,
0-42, 2019.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number O-42-2019.
I'll second.
All right, at this time, I'll call the question. Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Ianculum?
Yes.
Councilman Arvington?
Yes.
Councilman Silver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Council President Foster? Yes. Yeah, I got it. Elms.
He said yes.
Elms, you did say yes, right?
Yes.
I did say yes, thank you.
All right, then at this time, ordinance number O-42-2019 has been adopted. All right, if there's no other, any new business for our next development meeting, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Bye.
Morristown.